On the occasion of Women's Sports Week, we have Cara with us. Cara was nominated as the Hiker Outdoor Champion of the Year Award with Outsider.ie for 2022. And Cara, you are a mom of two, and you are also the Ireland's first and so far only hiking psychotherapist. So what I see from your introduction on Outsider.ie is that you have combined your two passions in psychotherapy and hiking together in your Hike Psych practice that you run. So tell us more about this practice.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I started it in 2020. I'd been a therapist for years and years before that, but I had kind of fallen in love with hiking through a funny event, to be honest, in 2017. But I decided pre-pandemic that hiking I thought would be a good combination with psychotherapy for so many reasons why. But so it was in that time then at lockdown when all of my clients had suddenly gone online that I thought, well, maybe now would be the time to do it. You know, I'd been mulling over it for a while, but that was sort of the push I needed to see if it did work, and thankfully so far it seems to be.
Yeah, that's great. And what do people who are currently the part of this practice with you? So, what have been their experiences so far?
For clients, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's to be honest, I suppose it's lovely to be a witness to somebody getting better. You know, that's why people come to therapy, because things are not going so well for them, and they need somebody to kind of see the world through their eyes and maybe catch the things that they can't catch and make the connections that they can't make. So in terms of the therapy, you see people start and they take off on the hike at a frantic pace. You know, it's like a really anxious, quick pace, and then as the weeks go by, they start to meander, they start to breathe more slowly, they start to see the views, they start to slow down, and they're not running from something anymore, you know.
Do you think that people become more mindful with everything that they do in their life every day? Oh wow. So sorry for interrupting, tell us more.
Oh, you're fine. But it's funny because they often don't notice that. Like I would notice it because I'm trying to keep up with them, so I'm like on the first few hikes I'm like, oh my gosh, slow down. But then as the weeks go by, they start to slow, and I say that to them, I'm like, do you notice you're not charging up the way you used to, you know? And they'd be like, oh my gosh, that's true, you know. So it's just, there's so much to that hiking adds to psychotherapy. I mean, the fact that you're even moving your body means you get fresher blood flow, which means your brain is working faster, which means you can access things that you can't normally access if you're sitting, you know, in a closed space in a room, feeling under pressure. Yeah. You know, the mountains make us all the same. You know, if it's lashing rain, it doesn't matter what you do for a living or what clothes you're wearing, or, you know, if you're slipping and sliding on mud and getting rain in your face, we are all the same. We are all just pared back. So it's not like, you know, traditional therapy where I'm the expert over here in the room and I'm, you know, like you have to say things to me that are going to make you uncomfortable and I'm going to judge, or, you know, obviously therapists aren't supposed to judge, but you know what I mean? Like people go in with that idea, whereas in the mountains, everybody is equal and it's lovely. You're side by side, you know, or even sometimes one in front of the other. And so it's just a much more natural, it's a much more healthy, it's a much more comfortable environment for so many people, because therapy is scary for lots of people, you know. It shouldn't be, because therapists are lovely, but it can be, you know.
And may I also ask you, so every individual is so different. We come from different environments, backgrounds, our own challenges, circumstances. So when you are among a few people during that hiking session, so how do you try to tap into their energy? I think it must be a very interesting aspect of the psychotherapy while hiking when it comes to catering to an individual's need. So,
yeah, that's it. You have to, I mean, you can only know about the client what they tell you, you know, and they are the expert on them. And I think that's the really important part of any therapy practice, is that I never go in thinking I know how this person should be or what they should do, or, you know, or the decisions they should make. That's not what it is. Yeah. My job is to go, you know, tell me who you are. Let me understand. I want to see your world as you see it, so that you don't feel so alone. And so that maybe I can, with that bit of perspective, help you find a better way through what feels, you know, impassable for you at the moment. So it doesn't matter that we have completely different lives or that we're very different people. Once they kind of trust me with themselves, once they let me see who they are, then we can work, you know. So you could have vastly different lives, and yet if you can connect in that real human way, like where someone is seeing you as you see yourself, then that's where the magic happens.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, as you are playing that role there, so, and people become more confident to share their life, and you know, they know that there is nobody who is judging them or evaluating them. So
yeah,
that's another beautiful aspect of it. So I would be so curious to know more on your hiking journey, when it started, and your interest into psychotherapy, and when did that start? And how did they come? Well, they came together in COVID time.
It's so funny. The psychotherapy started first. I had been working in sales and marketing. I co-owned 2 clothing boutiques, which went down in the recession. Literally had only just opened them 6 months beforehand, and lost both of them, and lost all my savings and lost everything in the crash. And so I was left in this situation of being like, well, what do I do now? Like, where do I go? You know? So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew lots of things I didn't want to do. So I kind of, by process of elimination, kept coming around to therapy, and I thought, is that it? And then I started saying it to people, and everyone was like, you've been talking about doing that for years. And even my dad was like, I used to call you the little agony ant, because every kid in the estate would come and tell you when things were going wrong for them.
It's sorry, Cara, little agony ant.
Little agony ant, yeah.
Why did that, from where did that name, that?
Oh, that would be a thing. Like, they used to have them in magazines, so you'd write into the agony ant, which are like your boyfriend problems or whatever. I don't know why they called them an agony ant, to be honest, but yeah, that's what it was. So funnily enough, I had kind of, that role had been something I had always kind of had in me. So I decided to retrain. I did that. I was making coffee while pregnant and trying to do my master's, and it was a chaotic time, but I trained and I did it, and then started seeing clients, had my babies, and then in 2017 is when the hiking started for me. So a friend of mine invited me on what she said was a girls' trip to Scotland.
Okay.
And about a month beforehand, I was like, so what's the plan? You know, thinking we were going like shopping, we were flying into Glasgow. I was like, this is going to be great, you know? And she was like, well, we're climbing Ben Nevis on the Saturday. And I was like, I'm sorry, climbing what? I had never hiked a day in my life, and she had signed me up for like the highest peak in the British Isles, essentially. So yeah, very quickly I was forced to start hiking in preparation. So I'd only 4 weeks, so I did a couple of hikes with like Gals Gone Wild, and I think I got out 3 times before trying to get up Ben Nevis. But on that hike, I fell in love with it. I just thought, this is the best thing I've ever done, and that's where the hiking started. And then, like I said, in the pandemic, then I put the 2 of them together. I had the idea for the 2 of them beforehand, but it kind of it supercharged it into happening faster than it would have. So
beautiful, Cara. And now these days, how do you organize your schedule when you are a wife and you have a family and you have this biggest passion of yours?
Yes.
How that all comes along?
It's hectic, I'm not gonna lie.
It is. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's very tricky. So, you know, I try and see clients when the kids are in school in the morning, and I see them in the evenings, which means my poor husband ends up putting the kids to bed more often than probably he should have to. But at the minute, it's, you know, it's kind of moving, so I don't want to let the opportunities pass, I suppose. So I guess I'm kind of taking this time for myself and going, right, I need to focus on this now, because it's my new baby. Not that I would.
That's your third baby. Yeah.
But it's my newest one, and so it deserves a bit of my attention at the minute. And so I'm trying my best. I'm still a full-time mum. I don't have childcare, so you know, I work when they're in school and when they're in bed, and the rest of the time I'm a mum. So, you know, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. The work-life balance is not something that exists, you know, the perfect one. But I'm doing my best, and so far everybody's doing okay. So fingers crossed, I can continue that way.
And how about, I want to know that who had been your inspiration in your life, and was there somebody as a role model you have always looked up to, and a driving force? Well, you have answered a few of these questions already, but I thought I should be explicit about these questions. Yeah.
I mean, I think my parents are my biggest inspiration. They're amazing. They're just amazing. My mum was a nurse, my dad was a doctor, a pediatrician, and they're both happily married. They're like in their 70s. They're mad about each other.
Wow.
They are just good people, you know, and they brought me up in a way that made me trust that the world is full of good people, that they're not a rarity, that's the norm. And so I think that's something I always hold true to myself. Actually, my husband said it was one of the things he liked most about me, is that I always see the good in everybody.
Beautiful.
And I think that was a gift from them to me.
And it resonates very well with your psychotherapy session as well, because and I do believe in the universe. I do believe in energies, that when you see good in everything around you, it multiplies. It certainly multiplies and changes our way of seeing the things. It changes our way, the perspectives completely. Yeah,
that's it. It helps you understand that everybody, even if what they're doing doesn't make sense or it seems self-destructive sometimes, that there's something in them that is trying to get better. There's something in them that's trying to figure out a way to grow. So that's really the root of therapy, you know. It's where are we trying to get to, and why are we using what we're using if it's not working, you know. It's about figuring all that out. So they are my inspiration. I think they probably always will be. So.
And Cara, so I myself have taken therapy sessions when I found myself lost in life, or maybe there was so many paths that I had so many opportunities that I had, but I didn't have clarity on what should I choose for myself. But I think here I'm talking about the career aspect, that I wanted to get a clarity on where I want to go in life with my career. But as a human, my own person, I found myself lost at times. So, and then I realized that, who should I talk to? Should I talk to my friends? Should I talk to my family? But I avoided talking about those things to my family, and even my friends as well. I avoided bringing my the pain points to them. So I decided to go for therapy sessions. So I realized at that point in time that I needed somebody to listen to me, somebody who is not judging me, and I'm able to open myself out. So would you recommend people? I think at some stage, I think we all need somebody to listen to us, hear us, and give us time, and that patient listening. And what do you recommend people, when is that time or a moment that they should seek out some help, some mentoring, some coaching?
A lot of the time we wait until we're in crisis before we try and do that. But really, that's like, therapy is the gym for your mind. You know, you can't expect to just arrive at the gym and be able to lift heavy weights. Like, you have to go consistently to build up strength, to build that resilience. So I would say, don't wait until it's absolute chaos. Don't wait until you're in crisis. If you haven't, been able to go and you find yourself in crisis, absolutely go then. But if you have the option to go when you can, even if it's just a check-in, go once every 3 months if you're okay, go more frequently if you're not feeling so okay, and just try and stay on top of it. Like, we always talk about like health and mental health. It's just health. There's just, your brain is part of your body. We need to look after it, and that has to happen on a regular basis. So, it's really important that people don't leave it too long before looking for help, because the sooner you go, the easier it will be, and the quicker you'll get through, whatever the situation that's causing you distress.
Right. And when the psychotherapy is blended with nature or hiking, it becomes more joyful and more beautiful and more intense experience. The happy, intense experience, more productive experience, and that's what you're doing. So I'm sure that after hearing this conversation, people should reach out to you and get to know more about the Hike Psych project, because this is fantastic. I think nature itself has a healing component to it. At times,
it does.
At times I get up in the morning and I want to go for a a walk, because I know the benefits of even going for a walk or walking around the Liffey River, and and some days I really enjoy it, and other days I kind of stay in my bed for longer, and I know that I miss that advantage of not being in the nature, not being able to have that walk. But coming to the Hike Psych project, I can completely imagine standing here that how impactful it would be for people to have a psychotherapy session in the nature.
You're getting fine. Yeah, you're getting your walk and your therapy in one go, which is very handy. And a lot of clients who start didn't necessarily hike before they started, but now they hike on a regular basis, you know, because they've found a love for it. And like, therapy is hard. It's not for the faint of heart. But the thing about being out is that even if you've had a really tough session, you will feel better for the fact that you got some movement, you got some fresh air, you disconnected from screens and noise and hard attention, you know. So even on the hard days, even on the tough sessions, you'll still feel better for that, even if you're, you know, bawling and crying when you get to the car, which hopefully you won't be. But, you know, it does add a huge amount extra. And you were talking about like how it makes you feel better. I mean, even something like you produce about, I think it's 40% more natural killer cells when you get regular exposure to the outdoors. So like, you will be healthier. You won't get as many colds. You know, it just adds so much.
And do you also like to tell people more about a Hike Psych project, which we might have we haven't touched yet?
Well, I'm expanding my team, so I now have someone else doing hike therapy, the lovely Deirdre in Meath. So if anyone's in County Meath and they are looking for a therapist, she brings them up around the hill of Tara, which is fab. Oh, sorry,
we used to cycle there.
Line on my face. It's my halo. So yeah, she's going to be starting, and I mean, hopefully I'll be adding more people onto it at some stage. Because it's just, I think it's the way therapy needs to go, to be honest. I can't see any reason, except for the Irish weather, why it would be you know, something that could be built upon.
Definitely. So. And I will join one day very soon. I haven't been out on the hikes in a while, but just a while ago I was talking to my housemate that we have to do some hikes on Wicklow, and we have to go to Glendalough and do some hikes there. I was just talking before our call, but now the last thing that I want to ask you is that on this occasion of Women's Sports Week, would you have a special message to share to all the women out there?
Oh gosh, well, get it. The hills. That's like, get your boots on and get out. It doesn't matter what the weather. Throw a raincoat on. There's nothing like a hot shower after you've been latched on for 2 hours. You know, it's just the thoughts that stop us going out the door are easily forgotten once you get out, you know. So just put your boots on, get outside. You won't ever regret it. Nobody does. Even 10 minutes of being outdoors will give you 90 minutes of a boosted mood. Like, you cannot get that payoff from anything else, not even drugs, you know. So like, that's massive. Obviously I'm talking about legal drugs. You know? But yeah, just get your boots on, get out. There's, you know, the mountains out there, and the community of hikers in Ireland is huge. There's so many free hikes, there's so many places you can do it, and Ireland is small, so it's easy to get around. You know, there's no mountain you can't get to in a day, there's no mountain you can't get up in a day, you know. So why not? It's all there, it's all free, it's on your doorstep, you know. Just get your boots on, go.
That's beautiful. I look forward to joining one of the hikes very soon, and I'm sure a lot of people will do as well, get motivation from this conversation, and they will reach out to you as well to know more about the project, the practice. Yes.
Yeah. Either.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Bye bye.
No, see you. Bye.